Hello and welcome to English and More with me, David. You are in the right place. You are watching the right video if you would like to speak better English and if you would like to understand why English speakers say some of the things that we say. Why can I guarantee that you will speak better English if you watch this video? Because I have a neat trick for you to use if you would like to speak better English. Let me write that down. I have an unplanned vocabulary tab, a neat trick, something that's really useful. It's neat, not tidy. Neat usually means tidy. Yeah, it's kind of nice, a neat trick, and I will tell you about that trick in a minute. If you would like a free resource, please stick around. Keep watching and I will tell you how to get the free resource. Please note that this video is not meant for first language English speakers. In other words, if you speak English as your first language or home language, this is not aimed at you. The video is not aimed at you. You are not my target audience. This video is aimed at people who are at the B1, B2, C1, or C2 CEFR English language framework level. In other words, you are a lower intermediate English speaker, you are an upper intermediate English speaker, you are an advanced English speaker, or you are a proficient English speaker. At the lower levels, you will be able to understand everything that I say. At the higher levels, you will understand everything that I say, and you will be able to repeat everything without making too many mistakes. You will also be able to give me other ways of saying what I said. So you have an understanding of different ways of saying the same thing in English. You might make mistakes. No one speaks perfectly. Don't try to speak perfectly. Rather try to speak well. Never lose your accent. Always just try to speak clearly. Never learn in silence. Always read everything out loud or aloud. That is the trick. That is the neat trick. Always read everything out loud. What can you read out loud or aloud? Everything. Read from a book. Read from an online article. Read this spreadsheet. There is a number, one number. So there is, or there are several, many, some. There are some things that you can read from the spreadsheet, which I will send to you if you subscribe through my website, www.englishandmore.co.za. At the bottom of the top of the page, top section of the page, at the bottom of the top section of the page, there are other sections. But at the bottom of the top section, you can see the subscribe button. This will subscribe you to my email list and I will send you the spreadsheet. And you can read everything from the spreadsheet. So there is some unplanned vocabulary. This tab will fill up as we continue. There are some vocabulary items. There are some suggestions. You can read column B. There is some vocabulary like water or like air. You could say there are some vocabulary items, because you can count the items, but if I just say vocabulary, I'm not saying how many vocabulary items there are. So there is some vocabulary, and you can read from the article, Slaves to Speed, we'd all benefit from slow cities. There is the article, so you can read this article out loud, and then you can go learn how to use some of the vocabulary items from the article. I have some surfing terms for you. I'll explain later. And I have 2 books that you could purchase from Amazon and you could read aloud or out loud from the books. And maybe you would like to have English lessons with me and we can discuss some of the vocabulary and even ideas in the 2 books. Let's jump straight to the planned vocabulary items, 3 useful vocabulary items for you. Better late than never. This is great because if someone who you are waiting for arrives or shows up. He or she, let's say she shows up late, and you're glad that she's there, even if it's slightly inconvenient. Even if it's slightly inconvenient, not great that she was late, but hey, I'm happy that she's here. We can say, better late than never. Let's get moving. Let's start walking if you were going to go on a hike or go for a walk in the forest, or hopefully not watch a film in the cinema, because then you might miss the beginning of the film. Then it would have been better to be on time. It's better to do something late than never to do it at all. You finally submitted your report. Well, better late than never. Okay, not an urgent deadline. This would probably be in a student's situation, and the deadline is flexible. A flexible deadline. Okay, thank you for your patience with me while I type slowly. I am a slow typist. I'm a child of the 1980s. We did not learn how to type, but we did use computers. So index fingers, that's what we used. Those are what we used. I hope that's right. Index fingers. Is that what they're called? Don't quote me on that one. Don't quote me on that one. You can check it up, please. Check if I'm right. I'm pretty sure these are index fingers. All right, so look at the example here. This is interesting because it's not phrased. The structure does not look like a question. Did you finally submit your report? Would be better. But here, first language English speakers often don't structure their questions as questions, rather as statements, but the tone of voice, the sound of your voice rises once you have asked the question. You finally submitted your report? You finally submitted your report? So we know it's a question because your tone of voice raises. Technically, you should say, did you finally submit your report? Or have you finally submitted your report? All right, next vocabulary item. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Let's say that again. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. No matter what you do, you'll face criticism or negative consequences. Something bad will happen both ways or either way. I should write that down. Something bad will happen both ways. There are two ways, or either way. Either, only one. One of the two. Only one of the two. So let's look at this vocabulary item. If I speak up, they'll be upset. And if I stay quiet, they'll blame me. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So whichever choice you make, negative consequences. Note the phrasal verb over here, speak up, really nice phrasal verb. If anyone has anything to say, please speak up now. Please talk now. Please speak up. If you're upset about anything, please speak up. I'm all ears. Also a nice unplanned vocabulary item. I'm all ears. I'm listening carefully. I'm happy to listen. Okay, and the final feedback item for the first part of today's video, the cat's whiskers. I don't really say this, but I have heard many people say this, especially in the UK. Someone or something considered outstanding or excellent. The example, she thinks her new invention is the cat's whiskers. And honestly, it's pretty impressive. Very strange, nonsensical. Let me write that one. Does not make sense. Nonsensical vocabulary item, phrase, idiom, expression. Doesn't really make sense, but people say it, which is why English and most languages are quite confusing, because language does not always make sense. Sometimes it's just things we say. They are things we say by convention. Convention, things we do. Things we do just because we do them, culturally or historically. All right, let's move on to a few mistakes that my clients made this past week, and some of the corrections that I gave them. The corrections are in column B. If you get this spreadsheet from me after subscribing to the website, you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel and you will get the weekly updates for these week in reviews videos. I always review my week, my English teaching, English lesson week. And if you subscribe to the channel, you will obviously get the notifications. If you subscribe at the website, then you will be subscribed to my email list and you can read everything in this spreadsheet out loud. Read column B here at the suggestions tab, because column A contains the incorrect things that some of my clients said this week. We will do 6 of them now. It could be full in hour, and this client should have said 1 hour or an hour. You could also say it could be full in 2 hours or 6 hours, but this was just 1 hour. It could be full in an hour. 1 hour is easier. It could be full in 1 hour, because full in an hour, the N, and H, those are difficult to say. So 1 hour would be easier. I haven't used it in a long time. Most of the time, we need a or the for simple nouns. Is this an abstract noun? I think it's still simple. What is the time? The time is, what is the time? 9:30. Most of the time we need a or the. Not always, but most of the time. I should have written it somewhere. Clearly this is in the past tense. Should have. I should have written it down. Write, wrote, have written, has written, have written or has written. Okay, those are fairly simple or straightforward. They are straightforward examples. Not too difficult, not too complicated. Let's look at the next 3 before we move on. So it is quite common, it is quite usual to hear people say, oh, less cars on the road today. Oh, less people walking on the bridge today. But because we can count the cars and we can count the people, we should say fewer cars or fewer people. There are fewer cars on the road today. It's not wrong. Lots of first language English speakers say less rather than fewer, and sometimes fewer rather than less. Technically, things that you can count are fewer, and things that you can't count, like air and water, you can count measurements of water, like 3 glasses of water. And if you drop down to 2 glasses of water, that would be fewer glasses of water. But if there is just less water in the river, that's difficult to measure and count. Stick to count. Measure you can, count more difficult. There was lots of people. Plural. There were lots of people. So they were, we were, he was, she was. Slowly cities is good. Slowly is an adverb. He is moving. He is doing something slowly. Doing it slowly. But this is just a basic adjective. So slow cities are good. So actually that's another correction over here. Plural. Slow cities, they are good. Slowing cities down is good. Ooh, can you see what's happening over there? Slowing them down is good. Slightly different meaning. All right. So yeah, you're describing the city, and yeah, you're describing what you're doing. But yeah, if you use the word slowly, they are slowing the cities down. They are slowing the cities down slowly. How are they doing it? They're doing it slowly. That's the adverb. All right, we'll come back to these next corrections in a little while. Let me just quickly tell you about a free resource that you can get over at the website englishandmore.co.za. That's the South African website ending. You can click the free ebook tab. It will take you to a new web browser tab. Fill in your name, your email address, and follow the steps to get the free ebook. It's about 20 pages long, and it has 5 really useful items, pieces of advice, areas of mistakes that English learners often make, and I think it will be really useful to you. Let me know what you think about it in the YouTube video comments section, please. All right, moving on, we will quickly talk about one of the articles that my clients and I spoke about last week. We looked at the topic of us, people in general, being slaves to speed, and the idea that we would all benefit from slow cities. I do not live in a city, and I definitely benefit from living in a slower paced environment. Let me write that down in the unplanned vocabulary tab. Slower paced environment. And I can feel when I go to a city, things feel more rushed. I don't feel so calm. This is totally normal. A lot of people live in cities. Most of my clients live in cities, not necessarily big cities, but they also agreed that it would be nice if their city centers could slow down a bit and give people more space to stop and talk, cycle, not have to move out of the way for cars all the time. Some people thought that this is not always true. We shouldn't always try to slow down. For example, almost all of my clients were very happy with the idea of a new high-speed railway in their different countries. High-speed railways, they thought, would actually help slow them down. They would get to their destinations quicker, but they would have more free time because they would not be spending so much time either driving or stuck on a train. So it was interesting because one of the opening quotes is from Gandhi, and Gandhi said this: there is more to life than increasing its speed. And most of my clients agreed with this statement, but they had a slightly different interpretation too, because if we make things quicker, technology can make things quicker, transport systems can make things quicker. We can also have more free time to relax and do things that we want to do. However, if we are always just trying to do things quickly, we might forget about why we are doing those things. So you must also enjoy whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're doing things quickly. All right, let's look at some of the vocabulary from this pretty good article. I think it was pretty good. So you can go over to the Slow Cities tab, and here you can see some of the vocabulary items. First one, obsessed. Many people are obsessed with saving time, even at the cost of well-being. At the cost of, what a nice phrase. So you pay with your good feelings, mentally or physically. That's the cost of saving time. So let's do things quickly so that we can save time. But when you do things quickly, you might not feel so good. So it's kind of a paradox. Here is the word paradox. Let's look at the example. It's a paradox that faster travel often leaves us with less free time. I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but yeah, the faster you go, the less time you have. What an interesting paradox. What do you think? Tell me in the comments of the YouTube video. So remember, I want you to read everything out loud or aloud. So you can pause the video. Hopefully you can follow along with the spreadsheet if you rewatch the video. And if you don't know how to pronounce anything, you can pause the video after hearing me pronounce the word, and then you can read the sentence and say it in the way that I have said it. Remember, I use the neutral accent. I am not speaking with a strong or any American accent. I'm not speaking even with a British accent. It is a neutral accent, although it is closer to British than any other accent. All right, let's look at this word, urban sprawl. Car-dependent sprawl leads to longer commutes and higher costs. So if there are lots of cars and it just looks like cars everywhere, that's the sprawl of cars. You can have a sprawl of garbage, just garbage everywhere. It's spreading outward, sprawling outward. So urban sprawl is when the city keeps expanding out into the countryside, and it destroys the countryside and makes things less enjoyable, in my opinion. Let's keep moving. Mobility, that's about movement. Traditional planning prioritizes the most important, right? Prioritize, make something very important. Traditional planning prioritizes mobility over accessibility. So you can move around a lot, but you cannot access many things. And even if you could access them, you might not want to be there because it's not pleasant to sit in a restaurant, for example, with a lot of traffic right outside the restaurant. Who cares about what you're accessing, but you're accessing it quickly or more efficiently. It does not mean that it will be more enjoyable. When you do something holistically, or if you take a holistic approach to something, or an holistic approach to something, you are thinking about all of the aspects. So Vision Zero, I'm not sure what that is, maybe zero carbon emissions, zero carbon dioxide, zero pollution. Vision Zero takes a holistic approach to road safety. Here, the example uses a holistic. Sometimes people say analytic. I prefer just using the standard but some teachers will tell you to say an before H because H is not always pronounced with a hard sound. It could be holistic, but let's stick with a holistic approach to road safety. Keeping on over here, keeping moving. Let's look at livable. That's a interesting concept. Suitable for a good quality of life, slow cities are more livable and sustainable. I haven't thought about using that word like that. Yeah, very livable conditions. So it's a positive word. Slow cities are more livable and sustainable. There's the word sprawl again. Dividend, interesting. A beneficial outcome. If you have investments, you might know this word because we talk about financial dividends. The slow city dividend includes cleaner air and happier residents. I would have preferred the word the slow city benefits include. There, the word benefits would be a noun. The slow city benefits include cleaner air and happier residents. Please note the tense that I just used. It sounds pretty clear, but a lot of lower intermediate English speakers don't use this. I should have said, or it should have said, or it could have said. It didn't do that, but it should have said benefits. You also could have. So could here is softer than should. So it could have said benefits. Doesn't matter. Did I get that correct? It could have said benefits. Looks all right. Okay, maybe a couple more items over here. Debilitating. If something is made weaker or if something is harmed quite seriously. Fast traffic contributes to debilitating urban streets, just making them unusable. If I am debilitated, I cannot move. I can't use parts of my body if I'm debilitated. A debilitating illness, for example. All right, so again, you get the idea. Please get the PDF from me. Subscribe via the website. Subscribe, and I just said subscribe via, you could also say subscribe via or via the website, and you will get this spreadsheet from me. Quick pause, and I'm back. Let's look at the remaining suggestions to my clients. Someone said, I drive to the highway. That is correct if you are speaking generally. Every day I drive to the highway. But here the client was trying to use the past tense. I drove to the highway. Drive, drove, have driven. The word order of this sentence is a bit off, a bit tricky. What you can expect. Better to say, what can you expect? What can you expect? And this client also said, and whatever it is expensive to maintenance. No, it is expensive to maintain. I suppose you could also say the maintenance is expensive. The maintenance is expensive. So it is expensive to maintain. The maintenance is expensive. Okay, a different client said bushes. Her pronunciation of the word bush was wrong. When you say bushes, that's how it sounds. It's more like the word pushes. The bushes and trees and plants and flowers, part of nature, right? The bushes. This is a little incorrect. It's more like bushes. That's wrong. So it's much closer to pushes. The bushes in the garden, the bushes in the forest. If the people do problems, usually you cause problems or make trouble. Stop causing problems, stop making trouble. Troublemakers, those troublemakers. And then this person said 50 kilometers per hour. It should be per hour. The measurement is just 1 hour. You can move 50 kilometers in 1 hour, so 50 kilometers per hour. Some people say kilometers, 50 kilometers per hour. Doesn't really matter. I think it's more common to say 50 kilometers. I have 3 surprise vocabulary items as we work towards an end of this video. This week, in fact, today, while I'm recording, it is the Jeffreys Bay Corona Cerro Open. I do not live too far away from this beautiful surf town. Well, the coastline is beautiful. I'm not sure if the town is beautiful, but it definitely has some of the best waves in the world. And I have been watching videos of the surfing on YouTube, on and off, not all the time. Okay, I just said I've been watching it. I've been watching the videos on and off, basically from time to time. I check the YouTube video, live video of the surfing, and I thought it would be nice just to throw in 3 surfing items or terms, vocabulary items. Gnarly. Surfers say gnarly. The conditions were gnarly today, so very challenging or dangerous waves. Did you see those gnarly closeouts? The waves close and you can't surf anymore. Did you see those gnarly closeouts at the reef today? No one was paddling out the reef. That means there are rocks there, and the water hitting the rocks creates the conditions for nice waves. But those conditions can be gnarly conditions. I often go on dawn patrols. You can do this for most sports, but for surfing, you're going on a dawn patrol. I suppose you can go on a dawn patrol for cycling or running, something almost like before the sun rises. Surfing early in the morning, often at or before sunrise. We hit the dawn patrol to score empty waves before the crowd showed up. So I'm going on a dawn patrol. The dawn patrol was great this morning. This is interesting. We hit it. Past tense. Hit. So early this morning, we hit the dawn patrol. Okay, and this is a weird word. Kook. I'm not sure if it's totally nice or politically correct. It's obviously not nice if you look at the definition. An inexperienced or clueless surfer, often with poor etiquette. The kook tried to stand up on his board backward. What a mess. I would probably say backwards, but I don't think it matters because I say forwards, towards, and backwards. Doesn't really matter. You have options. So, kook here is like a beginner, not very good, inexperienced. He or she just sucks and doesn't know the rules. So let me just write that. He or she sucks at the sport. Not very good. He sucks at it. He's bad at it and doesn't know the etiquette, which is like the manners. Etiquette. I think I have spelt that correctly. Spelt, have spelt. All right. Please remember that I have 2 books. You can get them from Amazon. Please remember to subscribe, through the website. You'll get the PDF content from me. Please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give the video a like, a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, if you think this is useful, and you can get the free ebook from me as well. Thanks for your time. See you in the next video.